two mangled wrecks were all that remained of the collision between a Mitsubishi Triton four-wheel drive and a camper van.
It appears that the drivers lost control of the vehicle, crossed onto the incorrect side of the roadway and had a head-on collision with a minibus.
Residents of the nearby Seawinds village were on scene just moments after the head-on.
It was on fire and it was just a pall of smoke and dust and just the bedlam. A bloke staggering around on the grass, he was fairly cut up, and a lady on the side of the road.
The driver of the camper van died at the scene. His wife was airlifted to John Hunter Hospital, along with the 24-year-old driver of the Triton, who was from Fingal Bay. Both have serious injuries. It was raining heavily at the time of the crash.
Wet weather, wet road, and a combination of that and the speed.
The Nelson Bay Road was closed for around 5 hours, traffic diverted through 1 Mile Beach. Tanya Carlisle, NBN News.
The scenario, a packed dolphin cruise boat catches fire at Nelson Bay with 80 passengers and crew on board. Codenamed Exercise Surprise, it's all about how emergency and support agencies respond as passengers are forced to abandon ship and a small boat symbolic of their tourist vessel goes up in smoke.
Well, there's the state disaster plan, and each of the areas have their own support plans. So this is to exercise the support plans and to see if there's any deficiencies.
There are dramatic scenes as paramedics are lowered down to reach survivors, or in this case volunteers, that are treading water in an area where a tiger shark was recently spotted. With seamless accuracy, the passenger is winched to safety. It all looks so real until you're reminded there are people in spectator boats watching.
It's fitting that emergency services are well prepared for this scenario. Last year, more than 1 million tourists flocked to Port Stephens, the region's 10 dolphin watching operators experiencing unprecedented demand.
Organised by the Royal Volunteer Coastal Patrol, the exercise involves 10 emergency groups and 10 support organisations, including fisheries and the RAF. Fast response times and clear lines of communication ensured there were no fatalities. The exercise has been hailed a success. Vanessa Trezise, NBN News.
Zero. That's the amount of times Newcastle has left Brisbane with the competition points, and it's one statistic the Knights don't like hearing about. A stomach virus to Andrew Johns isn't exactly music to the club's ears either.
Andrew's been laid low a little bit in the last couple of days with a virus of some sort, but we expect him to hopefully train tomorrow and be part of our plans on Friday.
No one's willing to say for certain that Adam McDougall will play, but given he'll meet old rival Wendell Saylor, it's a fair bet he'll play.
Probably set his sights on this game, and I think that we would expect a fair bit from him on Friday night, and I'm sure he expects a fair bit from himself.
As he has been the last 2 weeks, McDougall is named on the wing, but Justin Ryder has been included on a 5-man bench just in case, while 5'8" Sean Rudder continues his recovery from an ankle problem. It's the Brisbane hoodoo, though, that players hope to break.
Going up there, we can't really go on history and say, well, they've beaten us every other time we've been up there. This is a totally new ball game, totally new players in the side, so we've just got to take it as our first time up there sort of thing.
And with the drugs in sport issue rearing its head again, the Knights know all too well what's expected.
It's a professional sport and all the little kids look up to us, and if we're stupid enough to get caught with that sort of thing, then I think totally deserve whatever we get.
Cleared to play this weekend, Adam McDougall has a chance to challenge Wendell Saylor in a clash between arguably the two best wingers in the world.
In saying that, he's probably got a bit of an advantage over me. I haven't played all year and very much underdone, so if he's going to get me, it's a good chance for him to get me now.
And the return of the star winger has kept team spirits high. That, along with the news that Andrew Johns will make the team after struggling with a stomach virus. It could be just what the doctor ordered to break the Broncos' impressive home record.
Apart from Matty Gidley, we're probably nearly at full strength, and I think most blokes are in reasonable shape, given that we've had 4 pretty tough games and there's a little bit of soreness and a few niggles still there, but I'm sure most teams are like that at this time of year.
Sean Rudder has also cast off injury worries, his ankle trouble not bad enough to keep him from a repeat of last week's performance.
They're probably still another yardstick for the competition, so I think it's going to be a pretty good test for us.
While Newcastle has never taken a win away from the Broncos in Brisbane, they aim to change that, aided by the Broncos' loss of Lockyer this week. Adam Harper, NBN News.
Tears of relief today for Scone man Benjamin Burridge after a jury acquitted him of dangerous driving charges over an accident that killed his front seat passenger and mate Martin Bartouche. Benjamin was behind the wheel of his Holden turbo sedan in the early hours of the 4th of July 1999 when he lost control of his car and slammed into a tree on the eastern foreshore road at Glenbourne Dam. He and 3 mates had just left a party, but one of them would never make it home. 22-year-old Martin Bartouche's family today shocked by the court ruling, which led to Burridge escaping conviction altogether. Even though Burridge recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.149, the Crown was directed by the judge to tell the jury the evidence was inadmissible because the reading was recorded more than 2 hours after the accident, and experts could not prove if he was affected by alcohol at the time of the crash. But that's little consolation to Martin's family, who through a statement said the ruling sent out the wrong message. I know that boy is not a hardened criminal, but there should be some deterrent so he doesn't do it again. Burridge now faces lesser charges of negligent driving and mid-range PCA. Helen Kapelos, NBN News.
Paul Might was trying every trick in the book to get under the weight, even skipping in a plastic bag only minutes before the official weigh-in. The professional Commonwealth Super Welterweight champion had to be under 69.5 kilograms. It doesn't bother the 22-year-old who says he'll easily meet the weight before tomorrow night's fight and then steal.
I'd come over here to do the business.
No troubles for the hometown fighter. He weighed in at just under the required weight and is feeling strong on the back of his best ever preparation, but nerves are playing their part.
The nerves have been there for quite a while now. But yeah, they're there, but it's a good thing to have the nerves. It keeps you sharp, keeps you alert.
Tomorrow night, a packed Newcastle Broadmeadow basketball stadium will do just that.
It's just the acoustics of the place. It's really going to rock, without a doubt. And I'll be in the middle and I'll hear it all, and it's really going to pump me up.
Helping people to change their practice to be the best possible that's according to the evidence that there is.
You get the feeling these guys don't mind doing this for a living. Saturday night, though, will be all business for local star Craig Anderson. Coming off a great win in Sydney, he's keen to turn it on at home.
It's fun racing in front of the home crowd, you know. It kind of gives you butterflies when they cheer for you, and it feels really good.
20-year-old Mike Sleater knows it won't just be Anderson out to beat him. As the lone American in the field, he can expect little support from the locals.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure, you know, but I have nothing to lose, you know. I mean, they don't know me as well as I don't know them, but I'll do my best, that's for sure, to put on a show for the crowd.
Hunter Primary School students hit the park at Raymond Terrace for the area's round of the statewide Paul Kelly Cup. The AFL competition is designed to develop the code with juniors. Regional winners have the chance to play the final at the SCG. And historian Chris Conrick has captured the last 10 years of Hunter surf life saving and put it into print. The book, titled The Northern District Surf Lifesaver Companion Edition, was launched today and details the last decade of the sport that's entrenched in the region's culture. Profits from the book go to surf life saving clubs around the Hunter. Asala Massey was a frustrated man during the team's first round clash with Wollongong. He couldn't play due to injury and United lost. He planned some revenge this weekend.
Yeah, you know, playing against my former club, always keen to, you know, lift the morale of the team and perform.
Daniel McBreen has been doing just that. After scoring a number of goals off the bench, he worked his way into the starting side last weekend, but now he's torn a hamstring.
Couldn't really come at a worse time. First week back, I thought I didn't do too bad last week, even though we didn't score, but yeah, I was looking forward to playing against Wollongong. Defender Peter Sekenis is already out and Andy Roberts is doubtful as well. Both he and McBreen will have a fitness test in the morning. I've been at the physio the last couple of days and I've been at the forum, in the pool and on the bike, so I've got to go again tonight, so it's not looking too good, no. The odds are well and truly stacked against Newcastle United tonight, with Peter Sekenis already ruled out. Daniel McBreen and Andy Roberts were officially added to the injured list this morning, while Mark Wilson was always going to miss the match through suspension. That means James Kemp will start, as will Mitchell Johnson, with Chad Mansley on the bench. Between them, they have just 10 top-grade games experience. Meanwhile, Premiers Wollongong look as sharp as ever. Stung by a shock 2-1 loss to Canberra, the side has quality written all over it and have players like Dino Manello coming back from injury.
I think last year when we played them here, you know, we got a shock defeat at home to Newcastle, and they've got some dangerous players, so it's always going to be a hard game.
Alvin Cecoli knows he'll get just that. He's to mark former teammate Asala Massey.
We know what he's about, we know a different way he moves and so forth, but we definitely have to watch him in the air. That's his strongest point of his game.
The result will be in tonight's NBN Late Edition News. The waters of Karua are usually left to the odd fishing boat. Not this weekend. The Aquatic and Oyster Festival features 2 huge days of powerboat racing starting tomorrow, with the State Unlimited Inboard Championship before the prestigious Eastway Shield and Karua Cup on Sunday.
Also, for the first time this year, we're running a Oysterman's Cup, which all the local oyster farmers have chipped in, and they've put their prize money on one race. These boats are very fast. The average speed is probably 100 mile an hour. They get up well over the 200k mark.
Larry should know his engine powers this craft Alibi, and it should be tough to beat on home waters this weekend. To the natural form of horsepower in the Cessnock Rodeo, which starts tomorrow afternoon. Cowboys like Maitland's all-national champion Brendan Clark headline the list that will ride. But what separates this rodeo from the rest is the appearance of legend country music singer Reg Lindsay.
He'll be here opening the event with the Mayor, and that'll start at 3 o'clock on Saturday. So yeah, he gets very excited about it. And old people just come up, and old friends and fans, and just get autographs and just to sit down and have a chat with Reg. It's great.
It was goal after goal after goal for Wollongong in front of a large home crowd, and the frustration quickly built in the Newcastle camp. Coach Lee Sterry's face told the story as the Wolves circled, beating the Newcastle defence 5 times in the first half alone. It looked like the second half would be no better for United. But then the Newcastle fight back began, with Asala Massey opening the account against his former club. Massey scored a second time, with goals also going to Juknowicz and Mansley, but the margin was too great. The 9-4 mauling reaffirming the Wolves' reputation as the toughest attacking side in the NSL. Steele had it all over his opponent from the UK, super welterweight British champion Paul Myatt. After recently winning the World Super Welterweight Amateur title in Newcastle, Ben Steele made his professional debut last night at the Broadmeadow Basketball Stadium. Steele remained sure-footed, while the Englishman had trouble staying on his feet. The planned 10-round bout only reached round 7. Meantime, powerboat pilots were fighting it out on the river at Karua this afternoon at the State Open Championships. In the Formula Oz class, Charles Williamson aboard Loose Nut had a screaming run around the course to take the lead in the state point score. Racing continues tomorrow from 10 o'clock. Rocketing across the water at close to 200 kilometres an hour, then cornering around a buoy, takes skill and physical fitness.
But there is a lot of G-forces there, and by the end of the day, a full day's racing, you are sore.
60 boats gathered for the titles, with local oyster growers chipping in the prize money for the feature race, the Oysterman's Cup. In the heats, Larry Martin on board Trojan fought it out with Singleton's Troy Marlin, driving madness. It was everything Marlin could do to hold his boat steady in the chop and to take a heat win. Spears Point's Graham Woods in his boat Trouble was edged out by Sydney's Dave Monaghan, driving Twisted. Troy Marlin in madness went on to win the final, and local driver Jeff Bollins won the Yamato class.
It's a rush. Coming to that first corner when you've got 6, 7 boats all together, you can throw a blanket over them. That's whether you just got to hope the best you're coming out unscathed.
It was an afternoon the Butcher boys would rather forget. After 2 losses on the trot, the boys were fired up for a win, but found themselves on the back foot from the start. Waratah Mayfield opened its account early, with Frank Barrett getting across. Steve Storey had his eye in to convert. Then just minutes later, Phil Morgan spotted a gap in Central's defence and slipped through. The Cheetahs ran in 2 more tries before the break. Despite the Charlie's Angels cheering the Butcher boys on, they managed just 1 try in the second half. Full-time score 56-6.
That's the noise residents have to deal with day by day. In fact, up to 14,000 times a day as the heavy vehicles pass through the centre of town. But now State Member for Cessnock, Kerry Hickey, has thrown his weight behind the call for a bypass.
The Cessnock area will benefit by getting rid of the trucks out of the CBD. The trucks themselves will benefit by having a less time and petrol to be utilised to get their cargo from point A to point B.
The plan would see a road join the New England Highway at Seahampton and travel directly through to Branxton without going through small towns.
Alleviate the pain that is suffering by all the communities at Maitland, at Cessnock, and make it easier access through to the ports from the Upper Hunter and the northwest of New South Wales.
Mr Hickey is now calling on Federal Minister for Transport John Anderson to approve the $237 million project by the end of the year. Adam Harper, NBN News.
Some of these farmers that are actually donating hay this time have been underwater themselves earlier this year, and some of them last year had a fairly horrific year as far as their crops are concerned, but yet they're still giving.
It's part of Maitland's transport history, the bus depot tucked under the road bridge at High Street station in Maitland. Originally Fogg's buses, in later years blue ribbon coaches. But the wheels haven't stopped turning at the old site, with the Hunter Motor Group pouring $1 million into a new car dealership.
I think it's revitalised the whole end of High Street into something which will be considered in the long term a real landmark. This is state of the art, equal to anything else in regional Australia.
The major investment is seen as a vote of confidence in this part of Maitland.
I think it's going to add extra employment certainly to the area. Already we've employed a number of 2 more people down in this facility.
Senior executives of both Subaru and Honda will come to town tomorrow for an official opening. Adam Harper, NBN News.
This unassuming lane opposite McDonald's in Adelaide Street looks harmless enough by day, but the locals who live next to it say it comes to life at night.
Drink and drugs and needles and all sorts of things.
Completely trashed, and it's filthy and swear words everywhere and people hang out in it.
Locals like Kevin have petitioned council to have the lane closed, but another petition is being circulated to keep it open.
I reckon it shouldn't be closed because people use it every day, and I'm one of them. I use them 24/7.
Port Stephens Council says this nearby cutting is an alternative to the troubled lane, but it's looking at all options.
Improving the maintenance of the lane, putting in some better lighting, putting in a few rubbish bins, making it a more attractive place, putting in some plantings, maybe putting up a few legal graffiti sites and getting some graffiti projects going on a regular basis.
Security lighting which turns on when someone walks through the lane to stop people from hanging out in there at night time.
It's a worry because you just don't know what's going to happen. I've come out and challenged them the last couple of times. There was about 30 one night.
The owner of this house has moved out because of the problems. The matter will be raised at tonight's council meeting. Paul Lobb, NBN News.
Well, it can be used to power all sorts of machinery with better efficiencies and savings in fuels. When over here we're running 2 motors with 2 machines with the 1 motor at the moment. We've got a water pump going and a hydraulic pump.
It's part of Maitland's transport history stemming back to the 1920s. The bus depot tucked under the road bridge at High Street station in Maitland, home for Fogg's buses, in later years blue ribbon coaches. Now the buses have moved out to Thornton, but the wheels haven't stopped turning at the old site, with the Hunter Motor Group pouring $1 million into a new combined Subaru and Honda dealership, which was officially opened today.
I think it's revitalised the whole end of High Street into something which will be considered in the long term a real landmark. This is state of the art, equal to anything else in regional Australia.
The major investment is seen as a vote of confidence in this part of Maitland. Taking over from existing dealerships, George White and Jeff Boyd Subaru, the new venue is encouraging economic growth.
I think it's going to add extra employment certainly to the area. Already we've employed a number of 2 more people down in this facility.
Adam Harper, NBN News.
Up until 3 weeks ago, ambulance officers used Antonox or laughing gas to treat minor pain where morphine wasn't appropriate. But workcover testing found residual levels of the gas in ambulance cabins was dangerous for the performance and health of officers. So this painkiller, methoxyflurane, which patients inhale, became the replacement. It's used around the state, except in the Lower Hunter and the Central Coast. The local branch of the Health and Research Employee Union has followed the lead of America, banning officers from using it amid claims it's even more dangerous for officers and patients.
Suggestions that they were affected not only in regard to dizziness, nausea, etc. There were also suggestions that they may affect vital body organs such as the liver and kidney and may have effect on people who are pregnant.
The service is being accused of choosing methoxyflurane because it's cheaper, but the service says workcover forced its decision.
And we believe that the Hunter sub-branch should accept the umpire's decision at this time and the procedures that we're put into place to reduce the risk of vapour gas in the back of ambulances.
It means some ambulance patients will find themselves without immediate access to pain relief. That's because only half of all the Lower Hunter ambulance officers are graded to administer morphine. Unions want more senior officers and an alternative nasal drug. Vanessa Trezise, NBN News.